All right, tonight's guest is someone I discovered a while ago on Instagram. And in that moment, I knew they have to be on my show because I have learned so much from them. Not only are they a public speaker, fashionista, and author of books such as Femme in Public and Beyond the Gender Binary, but they're just a fabulous human being. Please welcome the wonderful Alok.
Hi. I need you to introduce me for everything.
For real? Was that good? Did I do justice?
I felt like I was about to run into a basketball stadium. Thank you so much.
Do it. So wait, Alok, I'm shook. Is it true this is your late night debut?
Yes, it is.
I'm so honored that I'm your first, no big deal, but I'm also kind of upset because I feel like you are the perfect late night host guest. You have so much to say that's of value, and I am disappointed that you have not been on everyone's show.
Maybe all of the emails just got sent to my trash folder or spam. I don't know. I don't understand it either.
Well, what do you do? How do you identify? What is, summarize yourself very quickly.
Hey everyone, my name is Alok, as in tell me a joke, Alok. And I'm a gender nonconforming writer, performance artist, creative. And I'm trying to create a world beyond the gender binary.
First, I want to just dig into a little bit of your background because I'm so intrigued. So you are Indian American, correct?
Yes.
And you grew up in Texas.
Yes, and when I'm saying Texas, I mean like Texas, Texas.
You mean like bold, underline, like you mean Texas. So I guess the question for you is, growing up, trying to figure out your gender identity as an Indian American in Texas, who were your role models? Because I could imagine that, for my personal journey, I had to kind of see people to learn about myself. So what was that experience like?
So this is kind of awkward because I didn't have any role models at all, but I was just doing it myself. So literally from the age of 3, I forbade my parents in dressing me in boys' clothes because I thought they were boring. And I just wore my older sister's clothes. I insisted on having roses on all my cakes, and I didn't think twice about it. It wasn't that I needed language to describe who I was just happiest when I was expressing myself in that way.
Was it ever scary?
What was interesting is that as a young kid, my family and community rationalized it as me just loving my sister. But the idea was that I would grow up out of it. So it became a problem more after I hit puberty. And then people were like, okay, so I'm gonna let you finish, but now it's time to be traditionally masculine. And that's when it became more of an issue. It's difficult being both queer and desi because it feels like so often people tell us there are no queer South Asian. So I grew up thinking that those parts of myself were incompatible.
I love that you said that because you were preaching to the choir. I think there is this idea that, no, there's so many desis in the world, but for sure, all billion of them are straight, for sure. I'm gonna be openly honest with you. I was hesitant to ask this question. Years ago, I used to react negatively to this question because as a brown person, people would always ask me about my parents. And I was like, you are asking me about my parents because I am brown and you wanna know how they feel about my career and all this stuff. And since then, on my journey, I have really changed my perspective on that because through my coming out process, I thought, wow, if I had seen other brown people talking about this, it probably would have made my journey a little easier. So if I may, I'd love to ask you, with the goal of hopefully inspiring other people watching and helping them on their journey, being from a South Asian family, your family's journey, what was that like?
So I'm really lucky because my aunt is a lesbian and she paved the way for me. So my parents were already familiar with the LGBTQ community and that Indians can be LGBTQ. So when I finally started to disclose myself or share myself with them, what was really interesting is they were like, obviously, we've known this and we were waiting for you. In fact, I don't recommend this to anyone watching, but I came out to my father when we were on a highway driving, which was really not the best.
Okay, the choices.
But it's just you're in the moment, you're like, why not? And so he pulled over and he was like, I've been waiting for this for the past decade. I was like, oh, oops. But I think that what's been harder is my parents were comfortable with my sexuality, but gender is a whole nother game. Because for them, they couldn't understand how my authenticity was more important than my safety.
That's incredible. And I don't even want to say brave. I wish I didn't have to say it was brave, but truthfully, it is brave. What would you say to, Indian parents or any parents of any culture where this is an extremely difficult thing to address?
What I would say specifically to Indian parents is it's time that you learn your history because LGBTQ people have existed in South Asia for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And this idea of dividing our people into just men and women and that they're all straight is actually recent and is so deeply related to histories of colonization. So often they say, oh, you've just been influenced by Western culture, America. But in fact, we're realigning ourselves with our Indianness. Like, I love myself as a queer person because I first loved myself as a brown person.
Indian parents, I don't know what you could possibly say as a rebuttal to this, but if I heard this, I'd be like, you know
Okay.
what? You're absolutely correct. I need to change my entire perspective.
You know that Auntie's gonna enter the chat though, and she's gonna literally still be there, being like, but
There will be still one auntie, but I didn't know anything you just said, and I think that's literally the perfect answers. We're returning home to who we are, which I think is a constant struggle. Something I've learned through your posts and through just speaking to you is that in a lot of non-Western cultures, skirts and dresses are actually not seen as feminine.
for people who might not be familiar, my dad's from Kerala in South India, and everyone there wears lungis, which are basically a skirt wrapped around. So I grew up with both men in skirts, and that wasn't considered wrong or weird. But then in the US, there's this cue moral crisis every time a man even like wears a skirt. We were able to make pants gender neutral, i.e. Zendaya being the face of the contemporary suit, but we have not done that around dresses. And I think that double standard is because of sexism.